didn't buy just any old bike. We bought... What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. For those of you who don't know, my name is Samson. And in today's video, I don't know if you guys can see all the clouds and everything. The weather is horrible, but I am super excited because we have a new addition to the family. We actually bought a new bike. And if you see the title, if you've seen the thumbnail, you guys know we didn't buy just any old bike. We bought a ZH2. Now, this ZH2, I got a lot to say about it. We're gonna try not to make the video too long, but there's a lot I can say about this bike. If you guys haven't seen my other video where I actually sold my FZ10 and we went to go pick this bike up, make sure that you guys go check that video out. Just go subscribe if you like bike content, if you like car content. As you can see, we have a plethora of cars here. A lot of you guys actually are here for this build, which we have some updates on this coming as well. Got to pull the engine. Got some issues going on. Not sure what it is, but we got some updates coming on it. But back to this thing. I actually got this thing for an insane deal. As you guys know, the ZH2 has long been the bike that I've really wanted. Anytime I go to a Cars and Coffee and I see a ZH2, you guys know that somebody's honking at me. You guys know that I geek out about them. You guys know that this bike right here is sort of my dream bike. I previously, before I had my FZ10, had a Z900, and that's where the seats come from that we're gonna talk about in a minute. But I had my Z900. I'm a big Kawasaki fan, Kawasaki and Yamaha fan, which is probably why I've had both brands. I love the Kawasaki green. However, a little bit of a story with this bike, which I talked about it a little bit more in the video where I actually went to go buy it. Had another bike that was an SE model, same 2021 year model though, but it was an SE that was in that Kawasaki green. Just couldn't seem to come to grips with actually getting a hold of the guy. He still owed the bank on it, and being that he owed the bank on it, I would have had to rely on him in order to sign over the title. And being that it was sort of hard to communicate with him because he was a little wishy-washy in his text messages, just really didn't want to have to deal with going through the whole titling process, not being able to possibly get it registered, all that drama. It does feel good out here. It's about 65 degrees, so sucks that I haven't been able to get this thing registered quite yet. I'm going to the DMV tomorrow, which will be Monday. I'm filming this video on Sunday. As you guys can see, it is completely stock aside from the seats. These seats I previously got made for my Z900. I ended up keeping my Z900 for I think about another month after I bought these seats. I loved how comfortable they were, but I did not like that the bike was slower than I wanted it to be. So I ended up keeping these seats off of that bike and just sold it with the original seats, just because I figured in the future I was gonna get another Kawasaki. I knew it was gonna be this one, and I knew that the seat design looked very similar to the Z900, and that I might be able to reuse the seats. When I bought this bike, first thing I did, since I had these seats, I took the stock seats off, put these plush, beautiful leather wrap seats up here. Could have got I'm not sure the name of the brand. I think it's like Tepperzilla or something like that. Some Italy brand that does seat covers. Could have got that brand, but I ended up going with my top celery. You guys can kind of see the embossing right there on the seat. Ended up going with my top celery seats. I think that this seat is going to be a lot more comfortable for me, being that I do long rides, and whenever I have my girl on the back. I think that we're going to like this a lot more, and I actually think that it goes very well with the design cue of the bike. The seats are, of course, a little bit more plush, but they don't look too out of place, and they have a little bit of green, which we're going to add more green to this bike as well. I do love the black. Like I said, when I originally wanted the bike, I was looking for a green combination, but the black is actually really nice. We are going to add a few green accents to it to make it a little bit more Kawasaki, if you guys know what I mean. To the actual sensor, I guess, gauge cluster, beautiful TFD display. We do have just a little over 1,500 miles, about 1,550 miles. So this puppy is brand spanking new. And the only issue with this bike that I currently have is it is way too quiet. If you guys know anything about how I like my motorcycles to be and how my FZ10 was. You guys know I do not like acquired bikes. We're gonna have to, at the very least, pull off this muffler right here and just have just a straight pipe out of this connection right here. Now, let me turn this off for a second. You guys are gonna have to give me a little while on that, simply because when it comes down to exhaust systems, they're not cheap. And I'm not like all your other YouTubers that just have a lot of money laying around. I kind of have to do my upgrades in stages. And I'm actually trying to consider between going with just regular eBay exhaust, which is a full header system, or the Akrapovic exhaust. I think Brock's Performance also makes an exhaust for this. With the eBay exhaust, it's gonna be around $750 to $800. With the Akrapovic exhaust, it'll probably be around $1,100. And with the Brock's Performance exhaust, you're looking at well over $2,000. I'm definitely not getting the Brock's. I had an eBay exhaust on my FZ10, for those of you who may remember how it sounded. Absolutely insane. Wouldn't have known at all that it was an eBay exhaust. Nobody ever talked about how the exhaust looked, because it still looked good. Nobody ever talked about how it wasn't branded with the Akrapovic or anything. They just talked about how loud the bike was. More than likely, that's going to be the setup that I end up going for with this bike. Just that eBay header design coming out to a straight pipe with maybe an Ulster Racing can on the back. We do have some other upgrades coming in. Some side view mirrors. We're probably going to go with the stealth looking side view mirrors. We're going to upgrade the actual windscreen, because like I said, I do ride my bikes, guys, and I do not want to be on the highway just getting pelted by wind. We do have to do a fender delete kit as well. We're going to get a bit of a tidy kit. I saw that there was actually a tail light design as well that you can get that has integrated turn signals. However, I do like how Kawasaki has their tail lights to sort of form that Z logo for the Z brand. So I'll probably end up keeping that tail light, just getting a bit of a tidy kit that comes with a actual turn signal integrated into it. That way I don't have to worry too much about it. I know for sure that we're gonna have to get some form of radiator guard. I was on a ride with a guy who had a Kawasaki Z900 one night. Well, we were in a group ride, and he actually ended up getting a rock in his radiator, ended up putting a hole in it, started leaking coolant. That's not what I want to happen to me. Have to call anybody or anything like that. So I'll probably end up getting a radiator guard. I did a lot with my old Yamaha that I don't necessarily want to do with this bike, because I saw that some of the stuff that I did with my old Yamaha ended up making it a little bit harder to sell with that bike. I painted the frame a gloss black, just because I like the gloss black a lot more than I did the flat black. I ended up lowering it. I got some new rear sets, some new covers for the brake reservoir, the clutch reservoirs. So it's probably going to be a lot that I don't do with this bike, just for purposes of possible resale. I don't see myself ever getting rid of this bike. When I was looking at getting a basically hyper naked, it really only comes down to a couple of options. You have the ZH2. You also have the MV Agusta Brutale, which is extremely expensive. You have the MV Agusta Rush. You also have the Street Fighter V4 from Ducati. You can get a Triumph Speed Triple RR or an RS, or you can get the BMW S or M1000 Single R. And I also think I might be forgetting the KTM Super Duke. You got a few options to choose from when it comes to hyper nakeds. This, for me, is kind of the all-in-one best option. You get the beautiful design, you get the power, you get the speed, you get the reliability from Kawasaki. Realized I didn't show you guys this intake on this side for that supercharger, and the red supercharger up in there. You get the reliability, you get the power, you get the design and everything. With Ducati, it's always going to be an expensive bill if you do need to have repairs. And it's going to be a little bit hard to find people to do repairs. You're going to have to go to a dealer, an actual Ducati dealer. You just can't go down the street to your local cycle shop like you can with a lot of the Japanese bikes. Also, same thing with MV Agusta, basically the same thing as Ducati. Both of them are Italian brands. With BMW, I think you also would need to go to a BMW dealer if you needed repairs. There may be some instances in which you can go down the street to your local cycle shop, but I know that that new engine that BMW has in their 1000 platforms, some guys have had those engines blow up on them. I haven't heard anything bad about the ZH2 or just regular H2 SX engines. They all seem to be pretty reliable engines. Can't say that I've heard the same for the BMW, so that's why it was kind of out of the question for me. For the KTM Super Duke, didn't really like the design on it as well. It's a really cool bike, not as powerful as this. And like I said, I just really didn't like the design, and that just leaves the Triumph. The guy that I actually bought this bike from, he had a Street Triple RS, or a Speed Triple RS, excuse me. He said it was just so much slower than this bike that he just had to get rid of it. He just didn't enjoy it as much as he did this bike. And I wanted something that I'm not gonna get bored with. I want to be able to ride it and ride it and ride it and get all childlike every single time I get it out on the street. That's kind of my goal with this bike. Like I said, I do hate that I wasn't able to get the SE edition. It would have came with the bigger Brembo brakes. These do have Brembos, but it would have came with some bigger Brembos, the steel braided line, and the electronic front and rear suspension. But I got this for such a great deal. I paid right around $12K for it. Basically brand new. It is a 2021, so it's still, within 4 years of where we are right now. And like I said, it's got 1,500 miles on it, just basically getting broken in, completely stock. And it means nobody has really been ragging it out or anything like that. So you guys let me know down in the comments what you think about it. But I think first things first, one of the first mods we need to do that we can do is try to go ahead, get this exhaust off, because we have to add some noise to this, and we'll just have to rock with just the exhaust off, no muffler or anything like that, until we can go ahead and get another exhaust. But I think it'll still sound pretty good up until that point. So how about we see if we can go ahead and try to get this bad boy off. All right, guys, so we actually had to bring the bike in. It's raining out, got a little dark, so we decided to bring the bike in and try to get some of this done. With this being a new bike to me, I am pretty nervous about working on it, at least at first. I'm sure once I ride it a little bit more, once I get a little bit more of a know-how of how the bike operates, it'll be just like my Yamaha, and I'll probably won't have any issues taking it apart, putting stuff back together. Just trying to do it at a high enough level so that it looks professional. We're gonna pop this loose, and we're not gonna pop it all the way loose because I think there's also this bolt right here. Looks like it could be a 10 at the bottom, and it is, okay, I thought it was twisting on the back, but it's not. All right, that's off. Make sure that there's no, let me lift that up a little bit. There we go. That should be all we got. Slide this bad boy off, and yeah, there we go. This thing is heavy too. Like, I had to say at least 15 pounds, maybe 20 pounds, just in this right here. I'm looking at the exhaust flap, and I'm gonna try to show you guys actually. The exhaust flap in here is actually already open. So I'll be interested to see whenever we start this bike up, you can actually see even more of the cat down there in the bottom. I'll be interested to see when we start this bike up if this flap stays open or if it does, close and open and close like it should. But we're gonna go ahead, try to make sure that we got everything buttoned up, nothing else, sort of loose or for our first ride that might end up, falling off. I have a Ruroc helmet for those of you who do not know. I do also have a video where I talked about the long-term ownership of my Ruroc helmet and the new helmet that I just got, which is also a Ruroc helmet, believe it or not. Ended up getting the custom chin mount that Rock makes specifically for their helmets. Went on ahead and got that, ordered it today. So I'm hoping it'll be here soon. And we're gonna try a new camera setup. Not entirely sure how it's gonna work because I do film almost all of my videos on my phone. So I'm gonna be interested to figure out how this new setup works with the camera, with the chin mount. If it's something that I find to be, you know, something that I want to do from here on out, or if I'm just gonna have to say screw it and try to figure out another way to film with my phone. The only issue with that is I've been having issues just sort of figuring out the whole microphone side of things. But nevertheless, this is what the baby looks like without the exhaust up here. So let's go ahead and let's see if we can get her started up in the morning when we come back out here. See how she sounds. All right, guys, so it is the next day. Remember last night we did go ahead and get the exhaust off of the bike. Just got it open right now, just from the header to this little, I guess you could say, collector area. So we're gonna go ahead and start her up, see what she sounds like. Hopefully this will be sufficient enough for me up until I'm able to actually go ahead and get an exhaust, but see what she sounds like. Oh yeah. Definitely louder than what it was with the can on it. Now obviously this isn't going to be as loud as just a full exhaust system, because it does still have the valve in here. We're going to let her warm up a little bit, and then we'll give her a few revs. Alright boys, I cannot wait for the exhaust system to come for this thing. We're also going to do a sprint filter. Maybe that'll help us be able to hear that supercharger flutter a little bit more. I'm going to put you guys up here near the intake so maybe you guys can hear it. This thing is freaking sick, yo. All right, I'm happy now. We got us a little bit of noise. But just like that, guys, if you did enjoy the video, and if you're looking forward to more vlogs with this bike, going to meets, just taking trips down to the beach, just talking, make sure that you guys consider commenting, and subscribing. We do have a bunch more epic content coming soon with this bike, with the Camaro, and with the Max as well. But like I said, if you guys like the content, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think about the bike versus the FZ10, or this bike compared to some of the bikes you guys might have. But just like that, guys, I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace.